English Mindline podcast.
Have you ever listened to someone speak English and felt completely drawn in? Not because their grammar was perfect, but because of the way they told a story. Why does storytelling have that magic? And more importantly, how can you use that magic to become fluent in English, faster and smarter? Hi, I'm Roman, and you're listening to the English Mindline podcast, a show that doesn't just teach English, it transforms the way you speak it. Before we go any further, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because this journey of mastering English through natural, real expression is only just beginning. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming in future episodes. Now, let's start this episode not with theory, but with a story. A story that changed how I speak English forever.
And I'm Alizebeth. Today, we're not just talking about storytelling, we're diving headfirst into it. So picture this. 2 years ago, Roman and I were sitting at a small roadside cafe in Turkey. We'd just finished recording a mini podcast, and were casually chatting with some international travelers. A woman from Brazil was telling her story, how she lost her luggage, met a street performer, and somehow ended up in a music video. Now, her English wasn't perfect, but we couldn't stop listening. And by the end, everyone at the cafe was either laughing or crying. That's when it hit us. It's not how many words you know, it's how you bring those words to life. So that's what this episode is all about. We'll walk you through 10 powerful storytelling tips that helped us and thousands of learners speak English more fluently and confidently. Let's begin.
Let me tell you about a time I nearly gave up speaking English. It was 2015. I was in Poland, giving a short travel presentation in English. My heart was racing. I had all the right slides. I'd practiced my grammar. But something was missing. People were listening, politely, not engaging. Then something unexpected happened. My laptop shut down mid-presentation. Panic. So I did the only thing I could. I started telling the story behind the photos. Not the polished version, the real one. How I slipped on a frozen lake, how I lost my passport, how I met a group of strangers who invited me for soup and helped me find my way. And suddenly, people were laughing, nodding, asking questions. The conversation exploded. That day, I stopped presenting and started connecting. That's the day I became a storyteller.
I had a similar moment too. It was during a job interview for an international online school. They asked me, "Tell us about a time you failed." I could have answered in one sentence. But instead, I told the story of how I tried teaching kids English through dance and how the first class was a disaster. The music wouldn't play, the kids didn't understand me, and I almost cried. But then I explained how I turned things around, how I used sound effects, laughter, hand movements, and how by the third week, the kids were performing mini plays in English. I didn't just answer the question, I painted a picture. They hired me the next day. So yes, storytelling isn't just about language. It's about creating moments. And now we'll share the 10 storytelling tips that can unlock your English fluency, starting right now.
10 serious tips. Tip 1. Use real-life moments. Don't make up stories that are too fancy. Use the real, small stories from your life. Talk about the time you missed the bus or burned toast, or met someone new. These things make your English sound natural. People relate to truth more than perfection. Tip 2. Add emotions to your voice. Storytelling is not about flat sentences. Raise your voice when you're excited. Drop it when you're sad. Add a pause when something surprising happens. This rhythm makes your English more alive and helps people feel your words. Tip 3. Show, don't tell. Instead of saying, "I was scared," say, "My hands were shaking and my heart felt like it would jump out." Describing actions paints pictures in the listener's mind. That's how you turn words into cinema. Tip 4. Use the who, what, result template. Every strong story has 3 parts. Who is involved, what happened, and what was the result. For example, I met an old man at the train station. He had lost his ticket. I gave him mine. He cried and called me his angel. Simple structure, big impact. Tip 5. Keep it short and sweet. Don't try to speak for 5 minutes at once. A good story can be 30 seconds long. Focus on one event, one emotion, one message. That's enough to leave a mark.
6. Use simple but strong words. Big vocabulary isn't impressive if it confuses people. Use words like fell, laughed, ran, hugged. These are clear and powerful. Replace proceeded to exit the premises with I left. Simplicity is fluency. Tip 7. Repeat key lines for power. If something is important in your story, say it again. For example, and then he said it. He said the words I'll never forget. This creates drama and makes the listener lean in. Repetition makes memory. Tip 8. Use hand and face movements. Even if it's just an audio story, imagine your hands and face are moving. Your expressions will come into your voice. That natural feeling helps people trust you and your story. Tip 9. Practice with a mirror. This may sound silly, but it works. Tell your story while looking into the mirror. Watch how your face moves, how your mouth opens, where you pause. This is how actors train, and it's how you can become confident too. Tip 10. Record and re-listen. Take your phone, record a story, and then listen back. You'll hear your tone, your pauses, your mistakes, and you'll know exactly what to fix. Storytelling is a skill, and every skill grows with practice.
5 difficult vocabulary words. 1. Captivating, meaning very interesting and attention-grabbing. Example, her story about the jungle was absolutely captivating. 2. Vulnerable, meaning open to being hurt or exposed. Example, when I shared my failure, I felt vulnerable but real. 3. Spontaneous, meaning done without planning. Example, the most spontaneous story I told was also the funniest. 4. Emphasize, meaning to give special importance. Example, you must emphasize the key part of your story with your voice. 5. Authentic, meaning real and true. Example, listeners connect more when your story feels authentic.
If this episode made you think differently about storytelling, imagine how your English can sound next week if you start practicing today. Share one short story today using the tips we gave. And if you found this helpful,
Then don't just listen, join our journey. Subscribe to the English Mindline podcast, and every 2 days you'll get a new way to think, speak, and grow in English.
Your fluency is not in a textbook, it's in your story. See you in the next one.